Philanthropy is the act of donating money, time, or effort to support a charitable cause. Americans from young millionaires to aging baby boomers are now giving their money to philanthropy in record amounts. From non-profit organizations to American Idol viewers, philanthropy has become the newest and latest trend. Thank you for joining us on As We See It, a show about issues in the community from the residents' point of view, letting you know that you are not alone in the effort to make your community a better place. On today's show, we will discuss and hopefully come up with answers on 1. How to get more young people involved in giving back to the community. 2. By supporting international causes, are we ignoring problems that exist here in America? 3. Is help mostly needed in developing countries than in the U.S.? And lastly, does philanthropy necessarily provide the added core value, personal relationship with one resources and the one in need? To help discuss today's topic is a panel of various nonprofit organizations and, of course, our studio audience. Thank you all for being here today. I have the organization Save America First Foundation and the African Women's Council, and I'm going to need you to introduce yourself and first of all talk about your organization.
Okay, my name is Willie McClooney and I'm with Save America First Foundation, and this is my partner Charlotte Butler, who she can introduce herself.
My name is Charlotte Butler and I'm one of the co-founders for Save America First Foundation, and our organization is a fundraising organization for American-based nonprofit organizations and charities.
I'm from the African Women Council Incorporated, and our organization was created in 2002 to help men and women victims of war in Central Africa particularly, and in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the problem is acute right now. 4 million have been killed and 4 million are displaced. We have widows, we have orphans who need help. That's why we create the organization.
And your organization?
My name is Molika Teresa, and I am with the Congolese Women Association, which name is Bondeko. Bondeko means fraternity, and we are living in solidarity to help ourselves here to make, our mark in the society in which we live. But the most important is to help also our sister back home. And since you have known from many years now, in the RC especially, there is a war going on, and so many kids, ladies and children are displaced. And last year, we did a fundraising cultural fair. So the proceeds from that fundraising, we sent back the money to help some ladies to stay on their feet and to help themselves better. So
okay, and I want to thank you all once again for coming here. And let me start with your organization. How did the concept for Save America First get started?
It's very unique how the idea came up. Myself and the other co-founder, Mashonda, we were actually just sitting around. It was more of a dialogue, and we were talking about what are the things that we can do in our community. So, of course, we have a lot of vast experience as it relates to planning events, entertainment, and so, of course, we could have very easily went into business ourselves and planned events to make profit. But then we thought about it, was like, we really don't want to do that. Why don't we put our energy and our efforts to use so that we can help somebody else? So what we actually decided and what we formulated was a fundraising organization. So all of the events and activities that we do, they go towards smaller nonprofit organizations. And if you take a look on any website or do any type of research, there are about 500,000 nonprofit organizations in America. And the majority of them can't maintain their causes because they don't have any money. And it's not because their cause is not worthy or they go underlooked. It's, of course, they don't have that exposure. So what our organization does, every time we have an event, we make sure that our nonprofit organizations that we're partnered with, that we're giving them press exposure, that we're giving them access to our sponsors, and of course access to our the money that we raise. So we're another mouthpiece for their organization. We're another outside fundraiser, because one thing that's unique about our organization is we don't have to focus on one individual cause. Our focus is on those smaller nonprofit organizations, so they can do the work in their community, and they'll also know there's someone else behind them that's going to continue to support them no matter what. And that's pretty much what we do.
And your organization targets the 25 to 46-year-old? Why that target audience?
Of course, if you do any research, the target market for most corporations are those between the ages of 25 and 44. So all of the events that we produce are geared toward that market because, of course, we know sometimes you have to give people an incentive to do something. No one is just going to come flat out and just donate money. So if you give them a reason or an activity or an event, they're more than likely to come. So at the same time, we're getting them to come because they're being entertained or they're actually getting something out of it. But at the same time, they're going to walk away learning something about an organization and, of course, indirectly giving money to a supporting organization. So that's why we target that market because, of course, they most likely are involved in going to entertainment-based events and actually doing a lot of things as it relates to travel and shopping. So that's why we actually targeted that group because those are the ones that participate in those type of activities.
And hopefully you could recruit from the audience that we have today, especially the young men in the back. Hopefully he might be able to help you all out. Now, Ms. Surakari, tell us about your organization, the African Women Council.
Yes, thank you very much. I would like to thank you to give me this opportunity. African Women Council, it has the mission of helping women with the skill needed so they can be self-sufficient. And also we can help them with health education and micro enterprises project. So women can be self-efficient so they can raise their kids.
And how did the concept for starting this organization begin?
This organization started, I've been living in this country for almost 20 years. And I traveled for my first time in the Democratic Republic of Congo. When I went there, and I was overwhelmed with all this suffering of women and children. And
well, before we get into that, why don't you tell us how the situation in Congo got started?
The situation in Congo gets started with the war began in 1998, where the Rwandese, they were fighting against other Rwandese who fled in Congo. And from Congo now, it's become now internal problem of the Congolese people. But Congolese did not call this war to happen, but it come from outside and it continued in Congo.
So basically your organization here in America raises money to help out those that have been displaced in Congo.
Displaced in Congo, yes.
And tell me about your organization.
I think the Association of Congolese Women, we kind of working together with the African Council. And we started since the event in 1999. The ladies in the eastern part of the Congo, they were, sexually abused and all those bad things. And at that point, we said that we as, Congolese ladies living here, we can't just stand still and not doing anything about those people back home. And from that point, we set up the organization and we did also the fundraising to reach out to those in need. And
what is the current situation in the Congo? Is there still war going on?
The war is still working on some parts of the Congo, but mostly it has been stabilized. And but still, the needs to help those people is still so great that we're trying just still to do something for those people.
Okay. Yeah. Now, Willie, I have a question for you. What are the main components that nonprofits need to be really effective in the community?
I think the number one component that most nonprofits need is exposure. Because without exposure, then they're not going to get the resources that they need. They're not going to get the volunteers. So that's why I think exposure is the number one resource that's needed. Also, of course, money. You need money to keep your organization going. Of course, you'll get volunteers, but then you will need staff. You need the money for operational costs and the funding for minor things as far as office equipment to setting up your events. So those are like the two major components that's needed.
Now, speaking of volunteering, why do you think most people actually shy away from volunteering? Why do you think most people don't actually volunteer?
Commitment. Yeah. And coming from volunteering a lot, most organizations, they rely on their volunteers, so they feel like they must be there. And so some people, they don't want to make that commitment because they feel like, gosh, if I don't go, the whole organization is going to fall apart, or I'm going to let someone down.
Right.
But it's really about, you know, the lack of or the fear of commitment.
So
Right.
what is your recruitment process right now? I mean, how do you go about recruiting volunteers?
Well, we put a lot of information out there. Like a lot of the things that we do, people want to be involved in because they never know what's going to happen, or, you know, I may meet this person, or this may happen. And so it's a lot of that. And there are a lot of, that's one thing about definitely the metro area. There are a lot of young people who want to be involved in something, but they just don't know what to be involved in.
Right.
And so we put, you know, information on different listservs. We use Craigslist, anything we can to get people to help out. So.
Now, speaking of help, before we go to the break, let me find out what does your organization need? I know you need assistance. In what areas do you need assistance? What can we do to help?
Yes, I think in my case mostly it's like we need financial, you know, help, and we need also people to work for the organization. And the main point for me as a Congolese lady living in America is to let my American sisters to know that I exist, and to be exposed to them so they can help me much better.
And your organization?
Yes, our organization also, we need exposure, and also we need help in terms of equipment so we can work efficiently. Because right now, I can say we are working in a poor condition, because these days, you know, we need some kind of technology for communication.
And what do you have to add to that? What does your organization need?
I mean, like she said, and just to reiterate on what everyone else said, it's basically funding, because you can have the best goals, the best intentions in the world, but sometimes funding is like the #1 thing. And of course, like you said, you need your volunteers. Everyone's not going to volunteer, but you know, you have your friends, you have your family, they'll help out as much as they can, but you need volunteers and funding, and those are the two components.
Well, thank you. We'll help you put out the word on what your organization needs, and good luck with all your efforts. We have to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll take questions and comments from our studio audience. More on As We See It.
Hi, my name is Ann Bergen. I am 15 years old and a member of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Washington Germantown branch. Our clubs, located in Silver Spring and Germantown, provide a wonderful opportunity for more than 5,000 children just like me each year, teaching us a valuable lesson in recreation, education, character building, and leadership skills. The club serves as a positive place for kids. To learn more about how to support the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Washington, please call 1-800-747-9561 or visit us at www.bgcgw.org.
Welcome back to As We See It, and if you're just joining us, we've been discussing philanthropy in the community. Now, statistics on a recent study on the giving habits of young adults states that people who do not give back to the community as youngsters are less likely to do so as they mature and age. Also, only 3 out of 20-something adults donated to a church in the past year. We'll talk to our audience and see what they feel about the statistics we've had in the we've just read. So I know you had a question. What's your question? Yeah, you could go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andre Dawn, and I'm originally from Martinsville, Virginia. From what I've heard earlier, one of the problems or one of the issues that you've had with your organization is that keeping people motivated to volunteer. What are you doing within your own organizations to keep people motivated to serve the cause that you all are striving for?
Thank you. Anybody want to take that question? Anybody in the panel?
Well, I think it varies from organization to organization, because if you get a volunteer a particular incentive to stay around, or it doesn't necessarily have to be you, it can be the volunteer, and they can have the same passion that you have for your cause. So I don't think it has to be an incentive or a motivation for that particular person. I just think if they have their passion and they feel it in their heart that they want to do what you're doing and make a difference in the community or even the world, then I would think that would be the incentive to stick around.
Now, speaking of that, I want to know, what is your attitude towards volunteering? How do you feel about volunteering? Anybody could take the mic? And should all volunteering be free? Should we be volunteering free of charge? If it's from the heart, you shouldn't expect anything, right?
Yeah.
So I want to know, what are your attitudes on volunteering? Or maybe I should make it easier. What have you done in the community recently? Amaz, I know you have something to say.
Well, on volunteering, I really, again, my name is Amaz Anolam. I'm Nigerian. And I really don't think that volunteering, because if you expect a volunteer to commit to a cause, I mean, it's only very few human beings in this world that will commit to a cause and there's no incentive. Mm-hmm. So I think, number one, money is a primary incentive for volunteering, even if it doesn't come on a steady basis, but just to make the person know you appreciate it. It's good for you to commit to this because occasionally stuff like this could happen. So money is a primary thing in getting people committed to a cause. And it's also good if the commitment is from their heart.
You said money. Isn't food good enough? Because I have a whole bunch of volunteers working for me today, and I'm only feeding them.
When I say money, I don't mean just cash.
Okay.
Money and everything that could be attributed to money.
Okay. Anybody has anything to add to that? By the way, what is your definition of a philanthropist? Who qualifies to be a philanthropist? Do you have to be rich to be a philanthropist?
No.
Come up to the mic. Go ahead.
Again, my name is Andre Dalton. And to answer your question, no, you don't have to be rich to be a philanthropist. I think a lot of people like myself aren't rich, but what I do is volunteer my time. I think being a philanthropist is all about making a sacrifice. And we all have busy schedules, and we all have things outside of volunteering that we like to be doing. But to make that commitment to volunteering makes us all philanthropists within its own right.
That's true.
Okay. Would you say philanthropy is a learned behavior from childhood? Do people start being philanthropic at a very young age?
No, I think yes and no.
Yes or no?
Chef Quaif of Annapolis. I think it can be, but I mean, I know plenty of my friends that have had a hard childhood, not much support, and that made them want to give back even more when they got older because they didn't get it as well when they were at a young age. So I think it can be taught when you're young, but I think it's all in the human spirit as you get older and what you see throughout the world, what makes you want to give back and be kind-hearted. So.
Anybody else have anything to add to that? Go ahead.
I'm trying to like this microphone. But I think that philanthropy can be a taught behavior. The reason why I say that is because other philanthropists that I saw when I was a young child, I mean, I benefited from. So therefore, it was only natural for me to give back in the same purposes and in the same causes that I benefited from as a young child. So to answer your question, yes and no. Some people, once they become rich, the only right thing to do in their minds is to be a philanthropist and to give money back because they have just an abundance of money. But other people that have been a product of other philanthropists' actions, I think that's what they're taught early on, and that's why they become philanthropists for themselves. So to answer your question, yes and no. It depends on the situation.
Okay. Now, just to switch gears a little bit, by supporting international causes, are we ignoring problems or issues that exist here in America?
I'll take that. I don't mind answering that question. That's actually, the name of our organization is called Save America First. And I feel like in America, we really need to, because of course there's nothing wrong with helping out anybody anywhere, and I really believe in that. But I believe in starting in your own house. You can't give anybody bread if you don't have any bread in your kitchen. And so that's what our organization is about, building up our American organizations, our people who are homeless, our people who are hungry. So once we're in a position, then that means everybody can focus on other countries who are in dire straits just like ours. So I don't want to say that it takes from it, but it just seems like we become oblivious to what's going on in our own country. Because of course there are several countries who are in need, who are going through war, but it seems like we don't pay attention to actually what's going on at home. Like, our homeless issue is not a homeless issue. So I think in some respects it does.
Anybody disagree or agree with that?
I agree. I have volunteered to Native American reservation. Sorry, my name is Agaba, and I'm originally from Rwanda. I have volunteered to a couple reservations actually in Native Americans and couple areas in African American communities. And definitely I would say that America as a whole has a huge deny to its people based on the communities that I need. I see many, I guess I can go back to my school. A lot of my friends felt like the need was more overseas rather than in their country. And after I actually got to experience these certain things, I realized that, you know what, there's lack of education within what's going on in America. So for that, I definitely agree.
Go ahead.
Henry from Nigeria too. I have to agree with her too. I think America has this whole, the whole world has this whole notion of America has to give. The tsunami in Southeast Asia, the AIDS prevalence in Southeast Asia, in southern Sub-Saharan Africa. Everybody expects America to give. You go down to Baltimore, you see people sleeping on the streets in federal buildings. Any big city, New Orleans, what happened there was 5 days later, people were dying in the richest country on earth. America gives so much to the world, so much, and always gets criticized for not giving enough or not doing this. It's never going to be enough. And I think, actually, if you go to the neighborhoods in this country, you realize that America is gradually forgetting its own people, and the international world and everybody's giving America so much pressure to do this. Oh, there's a war here, Bush is this, Clinton is always going to be this. We have to keep on helping America so, like you said, America grows, and then everybody else gets stronger because it's the biggest platform on earth to make noise from. So I think it takes away.
Now, the ultimate goal for developing countries is to one day be self-sufficient. Now, how can Western countries that help the developing countries, how can they help them be more independent?
Yes, I would like to just make a point on that one. Coming back from Africa and going through history, we have been, colonized, and the colonies are over. I think that on a matter of, technical help, the western part of the world can help us. But the bottom line, as an African woman, I think everything is my own hand, because back in Africa we can do it, and we have to take responsibilities. And counting on other people is a good thing because we need, we lack so many things, but at the same moment, we have to do it for ourselves. And I believe in that.
Anybody else have anything to say about that?
Even since the Crusades, people have had their own way of coming in, and of course, like you said, colonization. And I think it's important, if you're going to give, just give it to them and let them do it. Exactly. It's not come in, take control, set up shop, and totally reorganize their structure. It's really about making people utilize their resources, because if you're doing it for them or you're taking over, you're not really allowing them to become self-sufficient. So I really agree with her. Of course, they need those resources, but give them the training, give them the education, and then let them become self-sufficient with it.
Now, how can we as young people dispel the notion or whatever it is that we feel about philanthropy? Because everybody probably thinks that for you to be philanthropic, you have to be a Warren Buffett or Bill Gates. How can we dispel that notion?
But
I have somebody in the audience.
I'm Henry Williams Sr.
Okay.
I happen to come from Africa just about 8 weeks ago.
Okay.
I appreciate this program very much. And I want to tell you, I want to speak on three things. Do not compare tithing with philanthropy. Okay. Because tithing is a commandment from God in the book of Malachi. And if you donate generously to God, you are asking for the blessings to be showered upon you generously by God. And it is personal between you and your God. Whereas philanthropy is a state of the mind. It is not just, it doesn't just involve money. It involves talent, skill, and all what you have, give and sacrifice till it hurts you. That is sacrifice. I belong to Rotary International. You can see my
the Rotary pen?
Yes, my pendant. I'm proud to be a Rotarian. I've been a Rotarian for 26 years. It has not hurt me. But we have continuously given and given. Even when it hurts, you still give. Because there are millions who are looking for assistance. Coming to America, America is our own problem. Because they have created a culture where they say they can always give. And they have neglected themselves.
And people just rely on them to
give. The whole world relies on America. But America has forgotten herself. Because way back in America, there are intrinsic problems that have been overlooked upon. Giant philanthropic organizations are prevalent in the world. What they are doing are grassroots. That is, there shouldn't be a gap. And once that gap is bridged by mass mobilization and mass information, once it is bridged, then the people have the knack to do things for themselves. So let it be from now, whether it is philanthropy from Bill Gates or from United States of America, let it be bottoms up. Go to the people, let them take their destiny in their own hands.
Round of applause for Mr.
It's so ironic that he said that, but that's really what our organization is about. It's about a movement. It's about making young people, making it trendy, making it hip to give. Now, of course, we follow fashion, we follow music. Why not follow someone who's actually trying to do something to better the community? So we're about trying to create a movement within our younger American community. And within American, there's so many diverse amounts of Americans. There are African Americans. There are Asian Americans. So within that term American, we're talking about everyone who lives in America, and we're about trying to make a movement.
Now, one last question. How do you feel about the Bill Gates generosity, Warren Buffett giving to the Bill Gates Foundation? Do you think that really makes a connection to the people in need?
I think it's good because Bill Gates, he knows how to manage and how to give those who are in need. Because you cannot give to someone who don't know how to use it. Right. You have to give someone who will know how to manage the money. So when they manage, he manages efficiently by giving international and national. And I think it's a good thing to give to Bill Gates, because Bill Gates will, knows how to manage the money.
Okay.
It's good to give them.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming today, and hopefully you'll be able to recruit some people from our audience today. And thank you for joining us, and good luck with all your endeavors. For more information about Save America First Foundation, visit their website at saveamericafirst.org. And for the African Women Council, visit their website at africanwomencouncils-usa.org. Remember, as we are blessed, it is essential that we be a blessing to others. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.